here with that on the SP600 JX17. And good morning to Bill, W4DDH. I cannot copy Bill at all there. Perry, it's just the probably the strongest signal here this morning near full quieting. So good to hear you in here this morning, Perry. Hope all is going well. And KN4R, I did not hear Brian. WB0JZG, I only got about maybe 60% of his transmission there, but it is early and the conditions aren't too optimal right now, but that should change over time. Morning to John, W4HWT. You're about a S9 here this morning, John, and also Joe. WA2EJT. Jerry was very light in there this morning. Good morning to you, Jerry. I don't know if we've spoken before, but a nice meeting you here on the old military radio net. Running ART-13 this morning with the Hammerlin SP600 JX17. Brown, good on the acquisition of some industrial grade shelving. I wish we were communicating a little bit closer, and also my partner I used to work with, he just closed the doors on the company I worked for, and he's renting a warehouse from a friend of his. They're just throwing away so much stuff. He couldn't bear to see that go, so we probably would have had a good shot with some shelving there. So anyway, that's usually how it happens. But that's good. It's a safe foundation for loading that up with the equipment and all, keeping better inventory. And I think you're ready for a forklift if you don't have one. But anyway, I'll keep it rolling along here. Thanks for providing that. And good morning to the K1GWW if you're listening there at the command center there, Will. Good morning to you. And Steve, also KD3HT, probably in the electronics repair department there this morning. So WA4DDH, Bill, over to you, and hopefully you can copy me. Brian, you might just relay if necessary. WA4DDH at 1 SNG, over.
0JZG, Brian Stanford handed it to you. Go ahead, Kevin.
All righty. He's not very strong here, and I thought maybe he turned over, but couldn't tell. Anyway, good morning to everybody. What are the northeastern temperatures over here? It's very warmed up. I drove around the bed and didn't feel like getting up, but you know you got to do that in the morning. Well, Dawn's just got a good strong signal in here today. It's nice getting 40 over 9, but there's a lot of rapid flutter QSP on the band. Things are a bit unstable. We've got some high sunspot numbers. The 10.7 centimeter flux is at 194, which is really high. There's a lot of aurora. The geomagnetic field is very unsettled right now. Phase rate is 4.67, and I can see by my current aurora overall a lot of very, very heavy, bright aurora over Alaska to that area. So band's a little bit punchy up and down. Very sounds good. I think he said the LT13 on the WFODDH pretty well today, which is good. It doesn't always come in. So I turned it over to John WF4HW3, I believe, before I got here when you told me the order. And see how things go this morning. Thank you, Kevin, and from Florida.
Okay, Kevin. WB0JZG, I believe it is. W4HWT returning here with the old military radio net and copying everybody quite well. I didn't copy Joe that well this morning. I did think I heard him in there. And Brown verified who that was, but not copy him. A little bit on the light side here. Good morning all the way around, and got a question for the net. Maybe Glenn. I know he uses an SP600, or anybody else that has a SP600. I have an issue with mine. Actually, I have two of them, but one of them is a real problem. Is the knob of the tuning dial. It's got two behind the front panel. Is two brass wheels. One just kind of rubs against the other one. Friction is the way they work, and I've cleaned the things to get any grease off of them or something. Anyway, the real problem is the dial. You turn the dial, but the radio doesn't tune. The tuning scales do not move, and it kind of like it slips and so forth. I've got the spring on that. It's kind of a spring-loaded thing, and it's there. And but I've cleaned it with alcohol and to get the oil off, and right after the cleaning process, it works great. But just as soon as that alcohol dries off of it, it gets to where you go back 30 minutes later, an hour later, the dial wants to slip and not tune. I have another SP600 that's more of a hanger queen. It does fine. But this one's real nice and clean, and for some reason that gives me a problem. I wonder if anybody got any kind of remedies and so forth. Somebody told me to put some rosin on the wheel and see if that would do any tricks. So haven't tried that yet. But anyway, I thought I'd ask. I know, Glenn, you have an SP600, or maybe somebody else, and perhaps Brown has one, whether he's had that issue or not. But anyway, with that, I'll pass it on up to Joe and see how he's copying us there. If you copy me, Joe, go ahead and take it. WA2EJT, WHWT, and the old military radio net standing by. Over.
a couple of P600s that don't have that particular content charge. My SP600s are all worldwide. And, yeah, I hope that one of their guys it's an interesting thing to try this out. Here I've been working on my usual project, not quite military, but vintage project anyway. So let me pass it along. I'm not sure I've heard this station before. So my name is Joe, located in upstate New York near Binghamton. W2MNF. And the old military message is WA2EJT. Over.
W2MNS, my name is Terry, Daniel Echo Romeo Romeo Yankee. I am in Olean, New York. My first time on the net, and I don't know if you hear me too well, but I'm using Radio 2 at 40 watts out. That's new. And I don't have a lot of signals for everybody out there in New York. It's very hard to let me come aboard and talk with everyone. W1ZR, ground, back to you. This is W2MNS.
Okay, Terry, very good. Copied you quite well on the Ranger that time, W2MNS. And welcome to the old Milrad Net. Thanks for checking in. Good to hear you. And even though you're not running military gear, it's just fine. All are welcome. Yeah, the band is doing a few strange things, and Kevin, thanks for your comments on an unsettled geomagnetic field. Well, that will do it. I haven't been following that recently, but it is certainly of great importance. So I guess that's part of it. And I think you mentioned that it's causing quite a bit of aurora, which is a beautiful thing indeed. So I did hear I think it was a K6 trying to break in there. And I'll get to you in just a moment. A couple of comments here. John, yeah, we did discuss the SP600 very briefly at the Benson Hamfest. Myself and John and Brian and quite a few other guys who aren't here at this point were at the Benson, North Carolina Hamfest last Sunday, which is quite fun. It's not a very large event, but it's an excuse to go out and mingle and play a little radio. And I did see John there. So I had one SP600 with that problem, but if I just turned the tuning knob slowly enough, it would grip. So I never really delved into the problem. And I no longer have that SP600. I only have 5 or 6 others. And they're all working properly. So Glenn may have a comment on that, John. And yeah, I know you've tried it, and you mentioned using some rosin. What comes to what's left of my mind is years ago when we all did all our own automotive work, there was belt dressing when you're too cheap to replace a fan belt. And I wonder if that might work, giving it some grip. Not sure. We'll see who else has a comment. Anyway, and Glenn, very good on, I guess, is that the fellow who had the safety glass company? Did he actually shut the whole thing down? Wow. He must have, he must have gotten rid of a great deal of shelving. Shelving is amazing. I probably can't have enough of it. The place that I got this from was a statuary store and landscape artifact outlet. So they had some very large shelving, stuff that I just couldn't deal with. And you're very right. You're very, very precious. I've been looking for a forklift for several years. I do need one. Just haven't stumbled across the proper one. Of course, they are not inexpensive. And so for my budget, I've really been looking, come across a couple, but I'm not going to take on any projects. But then again, I can't afford $1,000. It's about the average price for just one that's 5 or 6 or 7 years old and good running shape. In fact, the place where I got the shelving from had 2 for sale, and they went for almost $18,000 for a 10-year-old machine. Granted, they've been maintained, but they're not cheap. So anyway, I do need one, but I've been using a small mechanical affair with a platform on casters that can handle almost 1,000 pounds, and the poor man's sportsman. All right, let's see. Everybody's got quite good signals. Terry, very good morning to you once again. Great signal in here. Brian, the Chinese GRC9 with the amplifier that you acquired at Benson is doing quite well, actually. So good for you. That was a very nice find. And Joe, you're doing a pretty good job down here. I think that the band is fairly long, and some of us are experiencing noise and others are not. So rather interesting conditions this morning. Okay. Before I have another call up, I believe there was a K6 or an N6 in there. If you would call, please, and let's get you in here. Well, very good morning to you, Jeff. KK6, India, Romeo. And where are you in California? Where are you again, please?
And that's the weakest they've been since I've been at this new GTA, so I'm a happy camper. All right,
Jeff. So let's see. Okay, so we have KK6 IRZ. Is there anyone else that would like to join at this time? Please call now.
Whiskey 1, Zulu, Foxtrot, Baker W1 ZFB, Brad. W1 GTX.
W2 ILA.
Okay, I've got W1 ZFB, W1 GTX, and W2 ILA. Is there anyone else at this time? Negative. Copy there. Okay. We'll give it to W1 ZFB, and then hand it to W1 GTX, and then W2 ILA. And Tom, hand it back to me, and we'll make another round up to Virginia, W1 ZFB, and the Old Military Radio Net from W1MZR.
Hey, good morning, Brown, and the Old Military Radio Net. This is W1ZFB. We're running the ART-13 with the DC-248. And I just need to make a comment. Did hear the California stations this morning, so that was pretty good. So it's a little low in audio, but other than that, I copied everything he said, so that was good. And those that have commented on the band, it's definitely up and down. A lot of QRB or whatever, QSB, I guess, here. So anyway, I'm going to stick around for another one, and let's see, W1 GTX to take it, W1 ZFB.
All right. Hey, good morning, everyone. W1 GTX here. See from 220 something miles south of Boston. Going to T368 this morning and listening on the R390A. So yeah, that's pretty good. I did catch the California, but I mean, especially where I'm located. But it was in and out, but got a little bit of it. That's probably about the furthest AM station I've caught. For me being only in this hobby for about 6 or 7 years now, so. Yeah, it's good to get down here. It's like kind of, you know why I usually don't get on until about 6 o'clock because of the propagation's a little bit different, but I'm copying most of the people. So, the southern states I have a little bit of a hard time, but it's not too bad. I can still make you out. Yeah, it's about 24 degrees here. It's probably the coldest it's been in a while. It's probably the February, I think. So, just lit my wood stove, got the coffee going upstairs. I'm gonna once I get off of this, I'm gonna go upstairs, make my coffee, and come back down. So, let's see. Had a good Thanksgiving. I hope everybody else did as well. So with that, I'm going to go pass it on to W2ILA, the old military radio net. I'm going to go make my coffee.
Yeah, okay. T3 sounds good. This is W2ILA, and I was copying Jeff about 50%. I didn't catch where in California you are, Jeff, but at R388. And my name's Tom. I'm in the south coast of Rhode Island. And systems are go on the T3 right now. Good morning to W1GWW, the SWL out there. And I did, Brown, you're doing very well, and of course Glenn doing very well, but I didn't catch the full first round, so I can't really give any useful signal reports. So back down to you, Brown. Good to hear everybody, and happy Thanksgiving. W1NZR, W2ILA.
All right, Tom. Pounding in down here as usual. And of course, K1GWW knew that you were preparing an assault because he heard you through your dummy load. And that allows him to turn the gain down on his spectrum analyzer so that the nuclear blast is not detrimental to its existence. Oh, that's funny. Oh, good morning to you, Mike. And Paul, good morning to you. You get a little award for being up earlier than usual. Usually you're trying to squeak in here in the last couple of minutes. But good to hear you and the T368. But so far, the award this morning goes to Jeff out in Chino. And I hope he'll stick around for one more. Very good to hear you, Jeff. That's a big DX for us. And, well, unless you're trying to get ready to go back to sleep. It's a little early in California. So, let's see. Okay, we're at the bottom of the list. Is there anyone that would like to check in before we make another round? Please call now. Okay, there we are. Sorry about that. Let me make sure I have it. Yeah, I've got to get in and reset this foolish thing. But it's been fairly cooperative, so we'll press on. Okay, back up to the top of the list. N1SNG, WA4TDH, W3MMR, KN4R, W0JZG, W4HWP, and John, I assume you're on your BC610. Sounding great over here. W4HWP, WA2EJT, W2MNS, KK6IRZ. Hopefully Jeff is still in there, and then it goes to Mike, W1ZFB, back up to Paul, W1GTX, and then W2ILA. So, up to you, Glentron, and I wonder if you have any pointers or thoughts on John's difficulty with the tuning on the SP600. And I know you've had that JX-17 for quite a few years. In fact, I think that came from me. Anyway, up to you. N1SNG and the old military radio net from W1NZR. Go ahead, Brent.
W1EKG. From the W1EKG. Checked in. You want to get him on the list?
Yeah, good morning, Ross. I'll put you down. Tom will hand it over to you. Good to hear you. Go ahead, Glenn.
Yeah, okay, good morning, Ross, W1EKG. Beautiful signal into Rhode Island this morning. I don't know what you're running, probably T3 or transmitter there. But in any case, beautiful signal here. Tom also, T3 coming across the bay there, just full power, and morning to Paul, GTX, ZFB. And good morning to Jeff, Valencino, California. Nice signal into Rhode Island this morning. Very, very light, but did copy you in there. Thanks for coming aboard this morning, coast to coast. Yep, very good. And good morning, Jerry, and Joe EJT, and John W4HWT on that slipping dial. If you get on the QRZ, we'll work it through that. I can give you instructions on what I did with that dial, or what the dial did with me. And I fought that for years. And I went online, got a few advisory tips there on how to handle that situation, and a little more than meets the eye there. So we could go over that with some instructions on what I did and the results that I got, and how many cups of coffee that I had while I was doing it. So anyway, yes. Good morning to Brian, KN4R. Really not hearing Brian that well yet. W0JZG, Kevin was way down in the back there, but I know it's just conditions this morning. And Perry, nice signal over here into Rhode Island this morning from Pennsylvania. Just a beautiful signal coming from your new station there. So antenna doing a good job also. And W4DDH. Did not hear Bill, so Bill might be on his Ranger again there. But anyway, yeah, on the SP600 dial, a lot of patience and cleanliness. Don't go in there with a grease gun or anything like that. It's kind of a clean, dry clean, unless there are, some indications of oxidation, under the microscope to say. But if anything, deox on a Q-tip, and then the whole process goes into a dry clean. With I use alcohol on that, and then there's a few little tips with the positioning of the tuning dial, that whole mechanism, and then the linkage in the back, making sure that's all dry and clean, and then you can go from there. It takes a lot of patience. I had to walk away several times with mine. So anyway, if you could do that, John, just send an email over to me on QRZ and anyone else that's interested in that whole instruction sheet that I'll produce there. I can put that up there too. So anyway, get it right over to Bill. Bill may need a relay in there, Brown, because I don't think we do have a good connect this morning, unfortunately. So WA4 DDH at the old military radio net from N1SNG.
right, WA4DDH in the old military radio net. This is W3MMR. Okay, Bill. Decent copy here this morning. Great to hear you as always. And glad you're here on the net this morning. Always a pleasure. Yeah. So anyway, good morning to Jeff out there in I guess in Chino, California. Pretty decent signal out here, Jeff. Hopefully you're hearing me. Name here is Perry, Papa Echo Romeo Romeo Yankee. The call is W3MMR, Whiskey 3 Mike Romeo. Just running an Apache Labs Anon 7000 DLE, software-defined transceiver. Driving an AL82 amplifier here at about 300 watts of carrier this morning. Balanced L matching network, homebrewed. In a 600 ohm open wire fed 75 meter inverted V, up about 90 feet. So real good to hear you this morning, Jeff, and the rest of the group here. Man, really big group this morning. I could run down all the calls, but really good signals all the way around too. I mean, everyone sounded fantastic this morning. Let me see here. A little bit of rapid QSB. I guess, yeah, we're supposed to have, we could have some R level, R1 to R3 level radio blackouts this week during the daytime when the sun's up. So the sun is spitting and farting and giving us a lot of solar flux. So get out there and DX. So anyway, we'll catch you. Well, I'm going to make this my final. I'm going to go lay on the couch and listen out. But I am recording the net here this morning. So later on today, just search Old Military Radio Net and today's date on YouTube, and you will find the net. So we'll keep the recording rolling here. Brown, great job with the net as always, man. Great to hear you. And we'll say 7-3 of the group. We'll send it down to Brian, KN4R. And you gentlemen have a great day. And I hope everybody had a fantastic Thanksgiving. Because I know I sure did. KN4R. Down to you, Brian, in the Old Military Radio Net. This is W3MMR.
W2GOR. The Old Military Radio Net. Brian, KN4R. Brian, okay, Terry, well, set the food. And enjoy the count. Keep the radio on. And
All righty. KN4R and the group WB0JZG. Well, your signal came up pretty good that time. Copied you actually real well on your Chinese Angry 9. The microphone sounds pretty good. They're very copyable. I've been running with the headphones here. My line noise is bugging me a little bit. It's not real bad. And nowhere near like what it used to be, but it's buzzing a little bit. And sometimes it'll drop out for a bit, and then it comes back. There's some insulator somewhere that's beginning to get upset. And gotta hate to contact and go out and find it because it's such a pain. I've had to do this before too many times. And there are a lot of QSB on the band today, a very lot of QSB, so signals are up and down. I did copy the gentleman from, I guess, Chino, California, pretty well. in and out, probably 60% of the time, but when he was in there and my line noise had abated, he was actually pretty good. In fact, that the line noise was gone like it's been quite a few mornings. I think I'd have copied him 100%, but there is a lot of QSB. The sun is angry. It's farting and puking and making all kinds of racket. It's... Well, I tell you, looking on spaceweather.com at the auroral band up over Alaska, and it's bright red, so there's some really strong stuff up that way. The 10.7 centimeter index at almost 200 is really, that is very high, so the high bands ought to be popping with lots of DX, but that's okay. I'm not a DX operator, I'm a red chewer. And I like to get on 40 in the middle of the night when the Aussies get in, or New Zealanders, and just chat. I've done that before during their day, and we just channel off. But I haven't seen conditions like that for a long time. Of course, the sunspot numbers are going up again, so we don't see those conditions near as often. I see my signal up in Maine is coming up a little bit with the QSB and crud in there. So let's see, over to come on here, W4HWT. Oh, the comment on the SP600. The other problem I had with mine was drag in the variable capacitor. So sometimes they get a little dirty and cruddy too. I mean, if there's a lot of friction, that drive is not that positive a drive, and if there's any tightness in there, it doesn't turn either. Those things can be frustrating, let me tell you. I've had the SP600s. I kind of like them, and then I kind of don't. The calibration is terrible on them, and the selectivity is just okay, but they're a classic good-looking radio. That's what I liked about them. I always wanted to feed a DDS into one of the crystals to give myself good frequency stability and readout, but never did. The amazing thing is they are very sensitive, and I used to hear stations in 6 meters, and they were stable enough to tune them in and listen, and you could chase them a little bit, but that's the one thing I'll give it credit for. The SP600s are very stable, and they are definitely sensitive. So, W4HWT, pick it up, WB0JZG.
Old military radio net. This is John, W4HWT, returning him. And okay, on the SP600, yeah, mine's when it's working pretty well. It's tunes a little fast on 40 meter CW. I can't imagine what it'd be like tuning on 6 meters, but I really hadn't looked at the frequency readout on a dial to see just how fast it tunes up there. But it's a little on the sensitive side when you get to tuning and calling, 10 kilohertz or 1 kilohertz. I should say the same space or movement, if you will, on calling on any part of the band, the HF band you're on. But the SP600 is a nice radio. I have some mixed emotions about it, but the old hanger queen one I have, that have no problem with that tuning thing, and that thing's got a bracket in there. It won't let that little old small spring move it very much anyway. And it's a real lightweight spring and so forth. I was able to take a screwdriver and put just a little, just a tad of extra pressure, and that would make it tune okay. And I have gone into Gearworks and cleaned all that up and lubricated that part and the shaft bearings on the capacitor to make sure it's not overloaded there. Maybe it's still not flexible enough, but I don't understand why they didn't do a little better job connecting the dial to the knob. Like Colin sure doesn't use any friction things that I know of. That's all tied together mechanically. There might be a little backlash in the gears maybe or something, but that's about it. But anyway, I appreciate the corner there. And we will send you an email note, and you maybe and DVH down there, okay, on the rubber rejuvenator. I don't know where I'll find that. those radio repair record players or maybe I can find something like that on eBay and see what they'll do. I haven't tried the rosin thing, and I found out there's several kinds of rosin, and see what that does. But I did buy at a music store a piece of rosin, but it didn't come in powdered form. It's just a brick. And I got to find a mortar and pestle and grind up so that it can put it into a powder. So I'll see what that will do. But unfortunately, it's never been a chemist, so I don't have one of those around. Anyway, we'll keep it in longer, but I do appreciate the joining there, and we'll keep on working with it. And evidently, Glenn, when you started, said you kind of had to walk away from it. I don't know what that is. But at any rate, I do appreciate the poop, and we'll get in touch with him. Brown well to be 216 and 398. Luckily, the only fires up in Fairbanks for and Brian, your Chinese rig coming through great. I did notice a little difference in the audio. Then you said you changed the mic, so that kind of explained that. The sound of the audio, I should say. I don't know that the quality changed that much. You're very understandable and reads you quite well. Well, then I'll pass it on to Joe, WA2. EJT, and by the way, before I do that, Tom, W2ILA, you have a great, strong signal here, very, very strong, much stronger than on CW on Sunday night. Very hefty signal. WA2, EJT to take it. WA17 and Old Military Radio Net standing by for you. Over.
Okay, John W4, HWT in the Old Military Net. This is WA2EJT. Well, unsettled conditions here this morning. I did want to mention that I was copying partly Jeff in California. That's a first that I can recall here on the Old Military Net. Well, takes the spirit that I understand conditions to do that. Also, hello to W1GWW, SWLing, and also to Steve, KD3HT. I hope that nothing serious keeping you off the air. And let's see, I'll just add that I've been working on my non-military project as a early to mid-1920s super het receiver, 8-tube job using the Hall 01A tubes. I haven't gotten it to the test bench yet, but I've had a good careful look over of the thing. And it's very long, it's a little over 3 feet wide, and challenged to find any kind of smart hole. Yeah, I'll leave things there. It's 7:06, so I should be here for another round. And thank you again, Ron, for 4 days. Good. Okay, so on to W2NNS. Jerry, this is WA2EJT. Over.
WA2MNS. Good morning again, everyone. Like I said, this is my first time here on the net, and I am not too sharp at copying call signs and all, and I apologize for that. I'm using a Ranger 2 today that's 40 watts out with a Hammerlin 180 a receiver with a 43-foot vertical. And I apologize. I did not hear who I am supposed to turn it over to next, but I really appreciate you guys. It's a real thrill for me as this is my first time on here. I did talk with a couple fellows during the week before that. I know Gary was on, but I appreciate you guys letting me come aboard. I'm new to this here, so I'm kind of tongue-tied here, but I better go back to my control over the ground so that maybe you got who I'm supposed to turn it over to, and I am straight now. The band is clear enough. It's much easier to copy here than what it was in the first round. So with that, I will turn back in that control.
Okay, Terry, very good. Yeah, your signal was going up and down on that. But very, very good to hear you in here. Let's see if Jeff KK6IRZ is still listening. And Gordon, I heard you break in. We'll get you in at the bottom of the list. So it goes out to Chino, California. KK6IRZ. Jeff, if you're still there, pick it up.
Okay, very good. This is KK6IRZ. Very rough copy though, of course. But probably hearing 50% of the people and 60% of what they're but hopefully I'm making it back over there. My antenna is not too much. It's a inverted V only at 32 feet at the center and 20 feet at the end. So I gotta get it up in the air. But I try to overcome it with power. So I'm not going to keep it long, but I am hearing you guys, you know, off and on depending on the road. But I think I heard Terry in there. I heard John, Brian, and I was saying that I heard Tom, I think it was. But other than that, it was getting pretty rough and things are swishing around quite a bit. So I'll turn it back up there and listen to my final. And it's very nice getting on. Doing kind of the AMI jamboree this weekend. So in case somebody else is doing that, my AMI number is 1809. And I'll take any that somebody wants to book it. So back over to you. Thanks for letting me jump in from Chino, California. This is Jeff, KK6IRZ, back to the military net control.
All right, very good, Jeff. Very, very good indeed. 100% copy here in northeastern North Carolina. And I know that one of our listening stations in Rhode Island is copying you as well. So you're making a transcontinental run. You're doing well, even with an inverted V, only up at 30 feet. Well, I want to thank you very much for bringing some DX excitement to our net this morning. It was very, very good to hear you, and all right on AMI. I'm an AMI member, but I can't remember what my number is. I can't remember quite a few things. Anyway, great to hear you, Jeff, and I hope you'll break in again. So with that, it goes to Mike, then to W1GCX, W2ILA, W1EKG, and Ross, you can hand it out to Gordon, W2GOR. So up to you, Mike. W1ZFB and the old military radio from W1N ZR. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think that's the old radio there was just these initial filters so they filter up the slop up the fans down on 3881. Like we're gonna squeeze right into those little spots. We get the whole other part of the band to go, but we gotta squeeze it right in. And then the filters are so to make everybody else. So you know, it's up there. Tough for me to see, but just open at NPR and talk about it. So. Yeah, I know, and I think it was, let me see what the distance there. 25, almost 4,600 miles. The area is 2,572 miles. I like this. That's a pretty good result. Oh yeah, that's coffee now. So coffee movement, everybody. That's another fun fact. Picking up just that little bit that helps out a lot. It's a fun thing. The way radio works, I guess. So. All right. Should be drinking my coffee here while I go. One more real quick. So I think it's a W2ILA. It's a W1GTX.
Okay, W1GTX, the old military radio net, W2ILA. Well, that round, first off, Jeff out in Chino, California, I had a pretty 98 down a bit and just about 100%, but I didn't catch which transmitter you were running or even if you said that. But very nice to hear you. Hope as the winter progresses that you'll check in more often. It's an early morning for you, so nice to hear you in here, Jeff. Running down the list, the bands, as everybody said, it's a little bit hokey, but W4DDH, I only had you at 50%, same as Brian at 50%. Kind of strange there. And but Terry, Kevin, and John, W4HWT doing beautifully, and good to hear you in here, John. Thanks for the signal report. Well, of course, you do very, very well, and Glenn, a handful of miles away, is good and solid. But it sounds like there's a little bit of a band anomaly going on to some of the locals. I can't get as usual. W2MMF running a Ranger and HQ 180. Nice to hear you in here, and I think it's at 43-foot vertical. So you're doing okay into Rhode Island. Nice to have you into the net. So let's run down on signal reports. I'm going to call it 1 or 2 I'm done, I guess, this morning. And say 7-3 to everybody. Nice to hear all stations. The thrill of West Coast DX on the old military radio net. And Brown, thanks for driving the bus too. So up to Ross. You had a nice signal on the check-in there, Ross. W1EKG, W2ILA.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And nice to hear all the signals here. The signals from California could not make it at 100%, but there are some squad buckets here, and they're way from up here. Just got the T368 back in operation yesterday after a short hiatus. It had been misbehaving on a number of levels, but seems to be okay. I took care of my modulator bias problem I had, and also getting the mic level more or less correct. So the distortion should be relatively fine at this point. But not too much else to report. I think I'm probably going to go back upstairs and crawl into bed before the X-Ray realizes I'm gone. And I think I'll make it one and done, and I'll listen out upstairs. I'm in the process of moving a few things around here in the shop this morning. But if I am not there when she gets up, I am quote-unquote obsessed with radio. So I need to keep that under control as much as I can. So I can get everything on the air here, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Gordon, W2GLR, take it away. W1EKG.
Gordon, if you're there, go ahead. W2GLR. Well, I guess he got bored. But we'll see if he comes back in. Okay, Ross. Let me make sure I have it. All right, Ross. Very, very good. Yeah, let's see. That makes 4 T368s on this morning, so that's pretty good. And obsessed with radio. Well, I think most of us can answer the affirmative to being accused by the significant other of doing that, especially when they're unhappy with us, which unfortunately happens a little too often. But good to hear you, Ross. Thanks for checking in and not at the last minute. You're usually a last minute guy. Sometimes you don't make it. So very good that you've got the T368 straightened out. It's a fine rig. I've had minimal trouble with mine. The only thing I really need to go in and do is adjust the plate overload sensitivity so it doesn't do the T368 crap out. At least it resets itself, but it takes a few seconds. Anyway. All right, well, we're at the bottom of the list. Is there anyone that would like to join the Old Military Radio Net at this time? Please call now. All right, there was somebody in there, and unfortunately it faded when just after you started transmitting. One more time, please. You, Jack, WA7DIA. Okay, very good, Jack. Good to hear you. Why don't you go ahead and then hand it back to me? Yeah. Propagation is varying, just various levels of noise, and as Kevin WB0JZG pointed out, the sun's angry. It's spewing forth all manner of things. So go ahead, Jack, and then hand it back to me. And I think you said 40 watts, but I wonder what rig it is. WA7DIA and the Old Military Radio Net from W1NZR. Go ahead. All right, Jack. Well, you're doing fairly well with 60 watts, but you're right. There is quite a bit of flutter, especially on the booster stations. I noticed that with Joe, and evidently there's been a fair amount of auroral activity associated with all of this unsettled geomagnetics from the big solar generator. So very, very interesting. Well, good to hear you, Jack, anyway. And again, we're at the bottom of the list. Is there anyone else that would like to join before we do another round here? Please call now.
I was hearing the 50 watts.
Okay, nothing else heard. All right, let's see. We'll go back up to the top, N1FNG, and then it goes down to Brian KN4R because both Bill and Terry have checked out. So N1FNG, KN4R, WB0JZG, W4HWT, WA2EJT, W2MNS. I think Terry is still there. Jeff in Chino has bowed out, probably gone to bed. But great to hear him. So Terry, you'll hand it to Mike, W1ZFB, and then W1GTX. W2ILA has, he's going to go back to bed as well. So Paul, you can hand it. Now we'll see if Gordon shows up. W3GOR, and then it goes to WA7DIA, and then back to net control. So up to you, Glenn Trunk. N1SNG on the Mighty ART-13 from W1NZR, the Old Military Radio Net. Go ahead.
W1NZR on the Old Military Radio Net, N1SNG on the ART-13 seems to be holding together. I just lost my monitor scope there. It went into a not so good CRT reception mode. So I just turn that off. That'll be put on the project list, things to do. But yeah, a lot of fluttering here with the signals. We all know what's going on with that. Unfortunately, we do tolerate certain levels of it, but I think I'm at the threshold of that there. But a lot of great signals here this morning, considering. And Brown, thank you for running the net. Everyone else participating and keeping things rolling along here. Something that's been around for quite some time. To enjoy it. A lot of good correspondence, just all the different rigs checking in from near and far. Makes it all very, very enjoyable. So at this time, I'll say my 7.3s, and I think I'm just going to go into cleanup mode here in the shack right now. So again, I want to thank you again, Brown, and we'll be in touch. So with that, I believe it's going over to I think it's WB0JZG or KN4R. It escapes me right now, but anyway, I'll send it over to Kevin and Brown if that's not where it's supposed to go. Realign that list there in that section for me. So WB0JZG to take it, and one SNG.
Yeah, okay, Glenn. John, it actually goes to Brian. Brian, are you still there? KN4R. Go ahead.
Thanks, Brian.
Very good. The 73 has got a big signal down here. That's going to the receiver on here. Everybody is just in. Anyway, I'm going to keep going. I'm enjoying the net and going to see all these things. Kevin, take it away.
All righty. KN4 on the roof. WB0JZG. Your signal is holding up real well. And Glenn, your signal has been holding up pretty well on the ART-13. I do copy. It's not as strong as your usual. Brown, your signal was dropping off a little bit, but sunrise occurs today at 6:57. Boy, we're quickly approaching the shortest day of the year, and then it'll start going the other way again. I wish we weren't on the normal time. Daylight savings time would be nice. It's a little bit lighter at night, but not a lot. But the sun would rise an hour later my time, which would sure be nice if it was 7:57 sunrise. Make it a lot nicer. Copying everybody on the net. The gentleman from California actually was coming in pretty darn good here. KK6IRZ, and if it had been a little bit quieter light noise today, I'd been 100% copy at him, but actually very good copy and a nice signal out of California on an antenna at 30 feet in the air. Oh my gosh, I've never had much luck with antennas at 30 feet in the air, even when the band was good from here down here in Florida. And I'm playing around trying to get a inverted V up at 50 or 55 feet. And just cut for 80 meters and put broadside north and south. If we run east-west with a signal going broadside, and inverted V should be somewhat on my directional anyway. But getting one of the legs of a branch of the tree has been a challenge, as it always is when you're dealing with these big old oak trees. And that's about enough of it, what can I do with it now? You might know. So anyway. That's an experiment which I may just pull down and see heck with it, but who knows? I just thought I'd give it a try. Maybe things could capture me a little bit better in other areas, but up in the northeast, signal definitely is working. I see my signal up into Maine is still coming in, but faded a little bit, and it's making it into the SDR and DT. So that's good, you know. I mean, getting out. I thought SDR is a nice touch on the line that comes up and starts buzzing real bad because they're in locations that are quieter. But in general, I've been able to just put the earphones on and listen, which is very pleasurable. I wish I had a little bit of an old-style noise limiter in this receiver of mine, but I really felt like fiddling around with that stuff. I've been trying to keep my home-go receiver somewhat simple, and I've succeeded so far in keeping it simple, and it actually works pretty well, and it sounds pretty good. And that's the key for it. So, anyway, over to, let's see, if we go to sign out, it goes to W4HWT. We've had a real good signal into Lincoln, Florida tonight. So, that's good thing. So, anyway, over to you it comes. See if you'll still copy me. WB0J. Talking too close on my mic, and just too hasty when I do it. I know I do that, and I think about it and wander up to the mic. W4HWT, WB0J13.
Okay, Kevin. WB0J, I believe it is, W4HWT, and the old military radio net returning. Yeah, copy you pretty good. Actually, that's a real fast QSB on you. It's almost like a signal. It's zero beat with you. It's a beat note that's beating with you, but it's not, that's not it. I don't think. I really think it is the propagation and so forth and so on. Anyway, it's amazing. People are always worrying about us humans warming the planet, and the sun is probably the major factor warming us and keeping us warm. And all its gyrations, I can't help but believe it has more control over our temperatures and everything else than man can. But anyway, we'll get on that pitch there and so forth. And so forth, and did copy the KK6IRZ quite well, and Joe, WA2EJT, that last transmission, I almost thought you were in North Carolina. I believe that's probably the best signal I've heard from you in a long time, if not the best, and copied you 100% plus. And good to hear you on there. And Jed, glad that you're copying. I'll try to drop you an email and et cetera, et cetera. I noticed they put a little extra tension on that pulley by just putting a screwdriver, basically the weight of the screwdriver against that stop, I guess you'd call it a little spring thing. That doesn't take much, and it does a great job. I don't know why you just couldn't put an external spring on the thing and give it a little extra tension there on the two pulleys, rubbing against each other, but well, that wouldn't work. But anyway, won't discuss that anymore. And so, what we think of it, go ahead, I'm gonna go ahead and sign on this and monitor a little while. And but I will sign on this one. And by the way, Brian, I didn't copy too well that time. The propagation between us was gone. I could barely tell you were in there. So it's amazing how propagation does change around here. WA2EJT to take it. W4HWT signing, but listening for a while. Over.
Hey, John, you're saying
Likewise, good copy from you, John, and from many other signals. WA4DDS was coming in quite well here. I've switched to using my BC453 as the Q fiber, and sometimes that seems to work a little better, but you never know for sure. And hello to Jack, WA7DIA. Great to be able to actually copy Jack a little bit. Typically I can't, but these are unsettled conditions here today. And copying a station from California here at this hour at 75 meters. That's really great. It was so nice to be able to actually copy at least some of Jeff's comments. Well, Brown, I'm going to sign on this one too. I see that it's 6:15, and I doubt that it would be coming back around to me by 06:30, so we'll leave things here. Meanwhile, I'm going to continue on my usual project here and on the non-military mid to early 1930s Super Het receiver. So, let's see, W2MNS Jerry and the old military net. Good morning all. This is WA2EJT. Over.
Okay, very, very, very good. I think Jeff has signed off, so it goes to Mike, W1ZFB, then to W1GTX, W2GOR if he's around, and then WA7DIA. So go ahead, Mike, W1ZFB. I think Mike finished transmitting. He dropped out completely. Does anyone else hear him? I don't think so. All right. It goes up to Paul, W1GTX. Paul, and then we'll see if W2GOR is in there. Up to Massachusetts, W1GTX and the old military radio net from W1NZR. Go ahead.
Alright, yeah, and like I said, I get the filter turned down to like 4, just to filter those guys down out. That kind of makes it a little tough sometimes to copy some people, but it's doing alright majority of the time. The Southern States, you guys are starting to come in a lot better now, so, you know, hey, the way the band goes, I guess. Yeah, it's just one thing that just makes it irritating to me. It's like you get the whole... I was looking at the SDI, and it's all sorts of places you can go and talk, but they got to be right underneath us. So I guess it's the way it works. So, yeah, no, like I said, everybody's coming in good news. So, see if we're sticking around for another month. We'll stick around, but if not, then we're going to go on my merry way, though. I think here we go to, what do you say we're going to? GOR. W2GO. I think it's W2. We'll send it up to you. W1GTX, the old military radio net.
Good morning, Gordon. W2GOR. Are you there? Nope. I guess he headed out. And Paul, you're putting in a very nice signal down into eastern North Carolina, but there's quite a bit of flutter on it. So it's very interesting, and that is usually associated with auroral activity. So I would imagine that there's a bit of that. And as Kevin has pointed out. So it goes down to Jack, WA7DIA, and then Jack handed back to me. WA7DIA and the old military radio net from W1NZR. Go ahead.
W2D is in.
Okay, Jack, very good. Yeah, propagation's all over the place at the moment, and your signal came up quite a bit on that last transmission. So thank you very much for checking in. Always a pleasure, and yeah, we'll look forward to the CWNet with W2ILA tomorrow evening. So I think WU2D is in there, and if that is so, Mike, go ahead. WU2D and the old military radio net from W1NZR. Go ahead.
Good morning, KK1K.
Okay, KK1K, okay. Good morning, Dean. And good morning to you, Brown. This is WU2D, Mike, up here in Manchester, New Hampshire. Got some wicked, crazy ionospheric action today. Ripples in the ionosphere, I guess. A mass coronal ejection. Something like that is messed up in ionospheres. So I won't hold it. I just wanted to check in before you guys quit for the day. And let me send it right over to Dean, and then you can send it back to Brown.
Go ahead, Dino. He must have gone to get a cup of coffee. Okay, Mike, well, good to hear you. W2D and the old military radio net, W1NZR. Yes, a mass coronal ejection. Yeah, well, that will do it. Very interesting indeed. Quite a bit of flutter on your signal as well, but nice and strong. So it's all over the place, and I know that John couldn't hear Brian, but he was hearing Joe at 10 over. And so, very interesting. And I didn't copy Joe that well, although on his last transmission he did come up considerably. So, anyway, KK1K, are you back, Tino? Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Brown. W1NZR in the Milrad net. This is KK1K. And we're copying you, copying Mike. I could hear Jack in there, but not real well, and there's a lot of flutter on everything. Running the ART-13 this morning, It's cold up here. I didn't look at the temperature. I just came down and fired this thing up, but I guess it's in the teens here this morning, and feels like winter if I didn't know better myself. Listing on ESP 600, and we're recovering from a very pleasant Turkey Day, and trying to accomplish a few radio projects here and there, and we've made a little progress here and there, but there's always more to do. Not enough time, too many projects, not enough time. Anyhow, we'll be here for the duration of the net this morning. Good hearing you on your signals, very good, Brown, and Mike, very nice signal up in here as well, but lots of flutter. So, W1NZR in the Milrad net. This is KK1K.
All right, Dean, very good. Well, you're putting in an excellent signal into North Carolina this morning, and I'm sure you've noticed that the propagation is quite varied, to say the least, but it makes it most interesting indeed. So, again, good to hear you. Yes, the radio projects never end, and then when they don't, they create themselves, if you allow them to. It's never ending, but that's okay. All right, we're at the bottom of the list. Is there anyone else that would like to join the Milrad net? Please call now. Okay, nothing's heard. So let's see. Glenn has checked out. So let's see if Brian is in there. I'm not sure. He may have left too. Brian, if you're there, go ahead. If not, it goes to Kevin, W0JZG, and then I think Terry has checked out, but we can try W2MNS. I think W1ZFB has checked out, so then it'll be W1GTX, WU2D, and then KK1K, and we'll see what's going on. Okay, K1GWW is informing me that there is a weak carrier trying to check in. So before we continue, anyone wishing to check into the Milrad net, please call now. I know that there's a signal in there, but I cannot copy you. Did anyone else copy that weak station? No, I didn't. All right, well, you'll stand by. Maybe its propagation will change. We don't have a very long list at the moment, and I think it may be prudent to shut this whole thing down early. So, Brian, if you're there, pick it up. Otherwise, it'll go to Kevin, W0JZG. KN4R, are you there? Go ahead, Brian.
California State. So I'm going to say 7-3. Thanks again, Brown, for running the net. And I'll be good again. Good morning to you, Mike, and also Steve. And go ahead, Kevin.
All righty. KN4R. No military radio. That's a good situation. And it's going to go. I'm going to cite to the 630 or some something that's for a period of time. And I'm going to turn this release propagation for 15 minutes. Okay, come on now. Get up. Come on. I would have he says, carefully. So I had to take over for it. Get out here on the straight course. About 660 degrees. I'm just Keys or something like that. Even when he could close out of the modulator, that doesn't really help because it didn't come up my head. I sit here and talk around and think come up the road quicker than I can stick on there with a magnet or something to get that air on the knee and these close bones. We'll have now for maybe a couple months we'll have every morning to sometimes maybe if we have a good air to change the place and kind of not little bit of a warm air to reoperate this thing out here. I guess I could move it to the side. I've got long enough for the microphone cable and a long cable for the switch. So we can do that if I really want to. Pretty good. So I'm going to sign. It's been a pleasure. I will try to next week. Well, I do no. Next Sunday, I will be in Daytona, the race they call the Crash Daytona. We're at the Daytona Speedway. The transition there and you can learn how to cross the roads. You have to use extra time in the new advanced speedway that we can swim in. Interesting how people didn't know. I didn't know it either. But then my lady got some buddies in on the track and up here on there too. So we're going to do a race up there. So you won't hear me next Saturday morning. We're going up there Friday and we'll warm up swim, and Saturday we're going to do a little bike ride, and Sunday we're going to race. But maybe after that we'll be able to get in here in the morning and sit here a little bit when I come. We're going to have that on there to see the senior back and it'll be happy, and I'll update it and everything a little bit more power into my new on that channel. I think it'll be happy to do that. Probably sit at not late at in my time sit up there so we'll see how stable it is. The audio on it, I think the last time I was playing it before it sounded good, and this time we found a problem that's been in it for a long time. I had 2 or 3 issues. One is it keeps my temperature and really high pH, and it just didn't like it. But beyond that, oh gosh, I keep that thing up and I'm really running it's a good part of the day with a carrier until the drivers flew out because they were no longer testing the heating and had no trips, no nothing. Everything was happy, so sounds like I'm going to be able to do that. And maybe 375 watts and I'm good, boy. I'm not, well, I'm going to turn it over. I bet it's still in there. Your signal hit John, I think it is, over in North Carolina. Your signal last time around hit 50 over 9 on my S-meter, which is a very, very slow signal, and it was very steady. QSD, but now that the sun is peaking up, it may not be that way. Of course, that gray line effect. So I'm going to turn it unless you sign, but I'll try it anyway. WOHWT from WB0JZJ.
Yeah, I think John departed. I don't think he's in there. John, are you there? No, he isn't. Anyway. Okay, Kevin, very good. Well, a good day to you. And thanks for that spaceweather.com. I'm going to check that out. I didn't realize that existed. So I'm going to investigate this coronal ejection. All right, let's see. Terry, W2MNS, are you still there? Go ahead if so.
You guys check me into N9. N9WQ.
What was that call?
November 9, Whiskey, Quebec, N9WQ.
Okay, N9WQ. Well, good to hear you. Go ahead, and then you can hand it to W1GTX. We'll stick you in here right now. N9WQ in the NORAD net from W1NZR. Go ahead.
Good morning. This is N9WQ. We are on a SCR 399, which is basically a BC610E, the BC614E speech amplifier. I'm running a BC342N receiver. I have the BC344D on standby, and I also have the 922 antenna tuner bolted up on top of the spreader. I even have the original candlestick desk microphone, although at this point I'm using a D104 pink light candlestick desk mic that they used on these. Anyway, I got the whole system running, and I thought I'd check in here this morning. I think I checked in last week too, but you know how that goes. I don't remember if I was up in time or not. Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning up here in Wisconsin isn't the easiest thing to do when you're all snuggly under the covers. So anyway, thanks for getting me in here. Again, this is N9WQ in sunny, beautiful downtown North Fond du Lac, Wisconsin. Over, over.
Alright, I got you guys in there. Yeah, good copy of that. My SDR off. Filter out some of the stuff, but doing alright. It's just signals pick up there a little bit at the end. So yeah, it's nice, the 610. Yeah, I got my 610s here. I gotta work on some stuff in the speech amp, but iron out some problems. But it's doing all right. It gets the signal out. It just needs a little bit more fine-tuned, and where I get limited, it's hard to find time to work on a lot of stuff. So we're T368 this morning to push out the big power, which is kind of a good thing where the propagation's a little whacked. So it'll make it well. Yeah, I was kind of shocked to hear Ross check in. I'm sure he's listening now, sitting in the bed laughing. And, you know, he was like, whoa, man, he's up early. Oh, Joyce must have gone out of bed. And then, nope, you're going to be in trouble. So, yeah, it is what it is, I guess. Other than that, everybody have a great week. I think I'm going to be starting overtime, but luckily it's in 2 towns over, so I'll be able to get up early enough on Saturday mornings and, you know, do a round or 2 here. And then off to work on, I'm gonna have to go. So better than getting no radio time in, I guess. So, all right, we'll send it to WU2D and the old military radio net, W1GTX.
Okay, Chris acknowledged AJ1G and GTX with a beautiful signal. Things stabilizing a little more locally. But Chris, you're down many dB from normal. The band is unusual today, and generally longer. So that's really interesting. Running the ART-13, and I congratulate you guys that got those 610s and T3s and all that heavier iron on the air. That's a little more than I think I could manage here in the shed. I certainly love to hear those old radios on the air. So I have been doing antenna work. This is antenna season. If you guys don't know, this is the time of year where most of the leaves are down. The ground is firming up a little bit. Put your orange regalia on so the hunters don't think you're a deer. And you get out there and you do your antenna work. And this period of time extends for about a month before the snow flies and it gets a little bit rough. But I was contemplating something to get up in the air for 160 and 630 meters. Now last year I had to do one or the other. I chose 160 last year. The year before I did 630. I said, I don't want to compromise want to get something up there where I can operate both bands. So my 630-meter antenna is a T with 75 feet of vertical, and the T on top is pretty modest. This year, I'm doing just a big inverted L. And let's see how this big inverted L works. It's almost 400 feet, with 75 feet of it being vertical. So let's see how this inverted L works on both of those bands. So back to net. W1 NZR from W2D.
Alpha Charlie 8 Foxtrot Lima.
Okay, John, we'll get you right in there. Very, very good. Okay, Mike. Well, very good on the inverted L. It's a great antenna. You're on the right track there, and you're right. It is antenna season. Leaves are down. Time to put things up. I just did some work about a month and a half ago. I did get another off-center fed dipole for 40 meters up, and managed to get my 75 meter up just a little bit higher. So it makes a difference. Anyway, good to hear you. It goes up to Dean, KK1K, and then to Chris, AJ1G. Good morning to you, Chris. And then Chris, hand it over to John, AC8FL, out in the western region. So up to you, Dino. KK1K in the Milrad.net from W1NZR.
Okay, very good. W1NZR in the Milrad.net, KK1K. Well, it's about 15 or 16 degrees here and chilly, but boy, all of a sudden signals are nice. You're banging in here, Brown. No flutter, very, very nice sounding, and also copying N9WQ, very nice signal. Paul, extremely nice signal coming in here, and John, Alpha Charlie 8 Fox Lima, very nice signal in here this morning. So band is doing different kinds of things. We did copy Kevin 100%, but it was still fluttery down in that direction. So we'll be around for the duration, but I'm going to guess this is my last time at the controls here, so I'll just say good morning to all, and Brown, thanks so much for net control activities, and we hope to hear you Sunday night on the CWNet. So with that, I'll pass it along to AJ1G. This is KK1K. Good morning to all.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's see, let me just trim up the power a little bit here. Yeah, good morning to the net. Happy Thanksgiving, belated happy Thanksgiving to all. Hope everyone's having a nice Thanksgiving weekend. Chris, AJ1G here in Stonington, Connecticut. Yeah, conditions are quite fluttery, I would say, here on most signals. Looks like we're, right on the edge of a geomagnetic storm. The K index is almost 5, and that's the break point. Yeah, spaceweather.com is a very good website. There's also NOAA has a space weather dashboard. Well, there's a lot of space weather on NOAA directly, which is where all the information that all the space weather websites have. I know space weather is very commonly used here in this country. Yeah, things are happening. The sunspot count is way high. It's like 194. So we get on 10 meters after the net. It's probably spectacular. And the other thing you want to do, I'll bring it up right now. Monday night, dusk to dawn. Yeah, dusk to dawn. There's going to be a 200th or a transatlantic two-way centennial QSO party. I just put up information about that on the QRZ.com special events forums page. Just get on the air and operate and have fun and celebrate 100 years ago, Monday night, is the 100th anniversary of the first transatlantic shortwave communication by anyone, as far as I know, amateur or commercial or military. French Snell, 1MO, John Reinhardt's 1X, and Manchester, Connecticut, respectively, made it across the pond two-way with Leon Deloy, 8AB from Nice, France, and that's like the history guy on YouTube says, it's history that's worth remembering. So there is a special event. Just get on there and have fun, whatever mode you want, whatever band you want, preferably 80 and 160, because those they were on 110 meters. Don't go on 110 meters. It's not legal anymore. But that's where they were, which is about 2.75, 2.8 megacycles per second, which is where they did it. But at that time, they didn't have formal bands. It was the Wild West above 200 meters back then. So everyone get out and have some fun. I guess there's a CQ Worldwide CW contest this weekend. I'm looking at my SDR here in the shack, and there's just one massive signals down there above 3.5. So that'll be a lot of fun for people to do as well. On the IC 7300 linear this morning, a little over 100 watts. But I am receiving my good old E.H. Scott SORM, my original military or quasi-military radio from 1945, which as of Thanksgiving Day I have now had for 59 years. My grandfather gave it to me Thanksgiving Day 1964, and it's still running great, and everyone sounds wonderful in it. So let's get it going to WF8L, I think it is. I didn't write that down. I know we've worked before, and I know you have some interesting military radios out there. And Central Electronics stuff as well. This is my Central Electronics 600L amplifier driven by the IC7300. WF8L, I believe is a call, AJ1G in the old military radio head.
Very good, Chris. AJ1G. It's Alpha Charlie 8 Foxtrot Lima here, John here in Fenton, Michigan, about 20 miles due south of Flint. Only 18 degrees, a frosty one here this morning. I think we're finally headed into winter here, so temperatures have been dropping off. You know, we've been kind of spoiled with some fairly sunny weather and a little bit warmer temps, but looks like snow in the forecast tomorrow. They're saying we could get an inch on the ground for Sunday. So hey, it is that time of year. So anyway, running the T368 here this morning and receiving on the R390A. And yeah, Chris, I had the Central Electronics, the 200V on last evening. It's sitting right here next to me, so do enjoy the Central Electronics a lot, but try to exercise some of the T368 is kind of the Saturday morning rig here, and usually try to get in, get that on and give it some run time on Saturday mornings on the nets here. And as mentioned, you know, quite a bit of flutter on the band on some of the signals, but I've been listening along for a bit, and pretty good copy. Had 100% on Brian down in North Carolina, the KM4R, I believe, and Kevin in Florida. I think Brian was North Carolina, and then Kevin down in Florida, JZC. 100%, a little bit light, and then of course Dave out in Wisconsin, N9WQ, booming in your great signal as always. And Paul of W1GTX, thanks for the good comments. I think you were running the T368 also, and boy, just great copy here. You were booming in, so real good signal and good audio. And Mike, WU2D 100%, and KK1K Dean, real good copy, great signal from you. And Chris, you're making the trip a little bit light, but 100% copy. I think on the I think you said the ICOM there. So let's see with that. wanted to mention, Brown, well, first off, thanks for running the net this morning, and real good copy on you, Brown. And I think that other station that was trying to get in was Victor Echo 3, Lima Yankee X-ray. I believe it's Dan up in Canada, so I'll take the liberty of passing it in his direction to see if he's copying me, and then he can send it back to you if he's hearing us still on frequency. So thanks for getting me in, and thanks for running the old military net this morning, Brown. And Dan, if you're in there, go ahead and take it up. Victor Echo 3 LYX from AC8FL, Fenton, Michigan.
Nice signal time, PGLB.
Was he in there, John?
Real weak copy here, Brown, but he ended the transmission. He made a short one, and I did not have it 100% either. So go ahead and thanks again, Brown.
Delta 3. LYX, Dan. And John, your P368 makes 5 this morning. So it was more or less a P368 morning, overshadowing the ARC-13 for a change. And there was another breaking station commenting on John's signal. Would you like to join us? Please come now.
KW1I.
Okay, Gary, good morning to you. What was the call again? Unfortunately, somebody doubled with you. Gary?
Kilo Golf 8 Lima Bravo.
Hey, KG8LB. Well, very good morning to you, Gary. Nice to make your acquaintance. Thanks for saying hello. My name is Brown. I'm in northeastern North Carolina. And there's KW1I. Dale, go ahead and hand it back to me. KW1I and the Milrad Net from W1NZR.
Do you hear me, Brown? KD3HT.
I got you, Steve. I'll relay. The KW1I, I was listening on the bedside radio a while ago, and Brown was coming in good, and there wasn't too much crud on the frequency, but it's amazing the junk that's there now, and it was tough copy this last time, Brown. But good morning, and good morning to the net. This is KW1I in Bow, New Hampshire, on the Collins TDO. And Steve, KD3HT, checked in just before I did, Brown. So good morning to the net, and we'll see you next week, I guess. W1N. Well, let me see. KD3HT, go ahead and turn it back to Brown. This is KW1I.
You okay, Dale? I got some echo in the background here. This is, I had a bad 811, and I could only find an 811 to replace an 811A, so. But the carrier should be about right. I have a rig down off the shelf, balancing on the GPT or the GPR90 SSB adapter. But it's working, so that's good. John sounded good here. Tom sounded good earlier. Glenn sounded good. Everybody was coming in here just fine. Heard the station from California clearly. You know, it was a little tight copy, but not too bad. Heard Bill every transmission he made. So overall, a very good morning. So glad I was able to finally get in here with my hum. So over to you, Brown. Hope you're copying W1NZR KD3HT.
Oh, excellent, Steve. That's very, very good. You repaired that in fairly record time. And also just in time, because next week I'll be in California, and who knows, maybe I'll even try to get in the net if I can stay up that late. We'll see, but I'll be working for the next 10 days, so you will be in charge back here, I hope. So, anyway, well, and Dale, thanks for checking in with the PDO. Always wonderful to hear that beat. I'm getting fairly close to moving mine down here. It'll happen, and but always good to hear yours. And thanks for saying hello. All right. Well, we're close enough to the end. I think I'm going to shut things down here. Conditions are all over the place. It's very interesting, especially John. I wonder, you might even have some aurora up there. Your signal was quite strong, but there was definitely flutter on it, and yours as well, Gail. And same thing when he was in here a little while ago. So, anyway, with that, I am going to say very good morning to all. Thank you all for checking in here. It's always a pleasure, and hopefully next week Steve will be here in my stead. Who knows? Maybe I'll come in from the West Coast and join Jeff. That was a treat this morning, having him come in from Chino, and who knows what the conditions will be next week. But so. With that, I'm going to say a very good morning, and I'm going to close the Old Military Radio Net for this. And again, thanks all of you for checking in. So, a good day to all. This is W1NZR signing off. My pleasure, Brian. Good to hear your rig.
And thanks for picking me up, Bill. And I heard still a very good Nick from California. Some very interesting conditions this morning with the daylight just showing here on the East Coast. This is Kilo Delta 3 Hotel Tango.
Good signal, Steve. Sounds pretty good. And yeah, I heard Jeff as well. Good morning again to you, Jeff, and thank you very much for checking in here. It made it quite interesting.
WD2HJK, good morning.
Well, it's good to hear somebody from the other side. It's been a long time since we've had anybody from the West Coast, but I'm sure he's probably not copying me. Go ahead, Brown.
WB2HJK. Can you bring up? Can you guys still hear me up in Wisconsin here? And W2.
Heard in Michigan.
Yeah, we're still hearing you on the East Coast, Dave.
WB2HJK. I've been listening to you guys on the Pennsylvania SDR. Your signals aren't making it back up this way. I can hear myself on the SDR pretty good, so I didn't know if you were hearing me yet or not.
Get to it. KD3HD.
Steve, KD3HTAJ1G. That's the excuse I've been using for my TCMs for about 30 years now. I'll be heading down at 3875. I'll be starting up the pre-neck corridor on Lonely Guys at about 7:15 down there. See you all down there, AJ1G. Alpha Juliet 1 Golf, AJ1G. I'm just doing a signal check here. I decide which radio I'm going to do the call up for the Lonely Guys on. I think I'll stick with the 7300 here, AJ1G, Alpha Juliet 1 Golf. I'll be moving down at 3875. Actually, looks like it's pretty clear right now, so I'll be heading down there shortly. But 7:15 is the official startup check-in time. For early boarding on the Lonely Guys. Nah, wouldn't be sporting. I'll see you at 38. No, I saw other people have tried that, and I'm holding the line. No check-ins on 3885 at the tail end of the military net. You have to check in. You know, it's just like Southwest. Early boarding starts exactly 24 hours prior to the flight departure time.